Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Talk About Your Community. I'm Todd Nilsson, the host of this show, this LinkedIn live stream, which usually shows up on Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays at 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. And it is a show that highlights online communities, offline communities, my favorite, the mix between the two, and things that are going on in this space and digital strategy in general. If this is your first time visiting the show, I'm very glad you're here. Welcome. It is an open Q&A kind of format show. So if you would, jump into the comments and talk about any questions you may have, or would love to know where you're from, or what you're up to, particularly in questions for my guests. Today, I am excited to be featuring a partner on the show, a friend, somebody that I've known probably for, I guess, a year or two now, maybe. I'd like to welcome to the stream Nicolette, who is with, she's the head of community and brand at Disciple. And she's going to be talking a little bit about the flagship event for Disciple, which is called Harvest. Welcome, Nicolette. Great to see you.
Hey, Todd. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it's been quite a while, hasn't it? Like you were saying, it's been 1 or 2 years. And I'm like, actually, we're coming up to 2 years now. And what a beautiful friendship. So yeah, happy to be here.
I couldn't agree more. I've so enjoyed working with you and the rest of the team at Disciple. I was excited about the launch of the platform from the beginning, the interactions I've had with Benji, who's also been on the show, the founder for Disciple Media, and just all the cool things that you guys are doing to connect your community with the collective, the community for your community leaders who are out there. So I was really glad to have the opportunity to have you on the show and talk a little bit about Harvest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to chat about Harvest. As you say, it's our flagship event. It'll be our 3rd time doing it now. So yeah, so much to share about, really.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the origins of Harvest and sort of like how long have you been doing them? What are they all about? What would somebody get out of attending one of the events?
Yeah, absolutely. So Harvest, as I mentioned, is our flagship event. We kicked it off this is our 3rd time now. We do them quarterly. So about, what's that, 9 months ago now. And mostly just as a way to really reach our audience. So reach our customers, our prospects, general community enthusiasts and lovers, and just people out there thinking, oh, I have an idea. Do I want to dip into community? What am I doing? Like, can I learn more? That type of thing. And so we figured, let's try this off in a, I don't want to say it, but there's like Apple events where basically they're like, let's go big. And I'm like, let's do like a more wholesome version of that, hence Harvest. And I just love the sound of being like, this season's harvest is upon us. And it just, sounds super wholesome. And I think, it's working well for us so far. And I'm excited to keep doing them.
I like that. I like sort of the attempt to just make it a more, I like wholesome as a good word to apply to it. It does feel like a very, like the past ones that I've participated in, they feel like a very unplugged, but excited event. Like this is us talking about the latest stuff that's coming out and that we want you to know about, that we're really trying to provide for you. And I've seen some of the reactions within the community. So, I know the last time around, there was a lot of excitement about video streaming through the platform, which is an amazing feature. And you guys are doing some really cool stuff with that. And like the reactions from members of the community that like you had people cheering in the aisles, so to speak, about being able to put that out, which I think is a really good indication of the level of enthusiasm that you and Valentina, in particular, have really worked to cultivate within that community. So happy to highlight that. Can you share anything with us about the latest feature sets that are maybe coming down the road? And not without spoilers, but what have you been working on?
Yeah, for sure. So no spoilers, but I will share a little bit. So some of the stuff that the team's been working on this past quarter that we're kind of like excited to share about. First thing is insights. So of course, we already have like an analytics section in the back end of the communities, which is called our console, but we're kind of taking it one step further. So we realize the importance, of course, of understanding what's going on in your sort of static content, so your resources, your library, those sorts of things. And so we want to give our members and our customers a little bit more idea of what's performing well, what's not, who's taking a sneak peek, and all those bits and pieces. So yes, insights is something that's coming up, which I'm super excited to make use of myself. And then obviously, as you mentioned, RCMP, so streaming and streaming through multiple platforms, so using tools like StreamYard, for example. Of course, we already had our live stream feature inside the communities, but this just gives our customers a way to, stream to multiple platforms at once, bring different people in. I mean, I'm sure we all know how it kind of works, but yeah, our customers, as you said, were absolutely like through the roof excited for that. So it's just beautiful to be part of that experience, to be honest, and to see their sort of reactions. And then a really big thing for us, and again, on the theme of what Harvest is going to be about this time around, is monetization. We really understand the importance of, especially being a creator, and finding revenue streams through what you're putting out there. So we'll be focusing big time on different ways to monetize, and again, insights through that. And that's some of the stuff. I won't share anymore.
That's amazing. I think all three of those areas are incredibly important. Insights and analytics. I mean, that's the lifeblood of any community, sort of understanding how well you're doing, what the health of the community is, how you're comparing against sort of benchmarks that are out there. And the fact that you guys are enhancing that is incredible. It just speaks to the investment you're making in the platform to make sure that it's a great experience for everybody. And and so as far as your own community, the collective, what kinds of other resources and upgrades are going to be showing up in there? Because like I said, it's a vibrant place. There's a lot happening. And I know you guys are always working really hard to do that. By the way, just a quick shout out to Valentina and Amadou, who are in the stream. Valentina, great to see you as always. We can have you on the stream sometime soon. And Amadou, who is a colleague from International Community Day, he has been wonderfully showing up at so many of the streams. It's really, really great to see you, sir. I hope that you are doing well this day from France. So sorry, Nicolette, but back to you. What the collective, tell me more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually just going to say something that you've kind of done now. It's acknowledging and recognizing the people that are kind of showing up and are in the space. I think that is just so key in terms of building like an authentic community, which is really what we aim to do in the collective. So one of the exciting things that we're kind of launching at the moment is going to be a sort of choose your adventure pack for our members. So this is a way to highlight our community champions, almost like a super member or a super host program, but for a way for them to get involved in a way that suits themselves and their schedules and their strengths and skill sets, and also as a way for them to be recognized for their hard work and everything they kind of put into the community as well. So from being a welcome person ambassador, for example, where they can welcome people in, to sharing their own content and running their own events inside the collective, we can acknowledge that we're not the only ones that have anything to share, and we really want to highlight the people who are on this journey of building their own communities from the ground up. So yeah, that's something that's exciting to be coming. And then again, along the themes of monetization, we'll be helping to sort of teach creators and community builders how to monetize and really make money from their own communities and their own offerings. So we'll be launching a new email course on monetization, where we're running them through how to really start from the foundations to make sure your community is really built on strength and strong beings, until you're able to kind of get out there and fully launch your monetization model, from subscriptions to freemium models to behind paywalls and gated content, all the rest of it. But yeah, we really want to hold people's hands and take them through that.
Those are two great enhancements. You had me at choose your own adventure. I love that sense of autonomy to be able to take a direction and go with it, and especially to be able to contribute to a community that's already doing so well as the collective is. And then monetization. I mean, that's coming into play with every community platform that I talk to. They're trying to figure out ways to make that easier for creators. And and especially with you guys, being so plugged into startups through larger organizations, that people are trying to do that, making that easier, making the tools more clear, and providing people with a roadmap and the education to be able to do that is incredibly important.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And I think we're living in that age of, as we call it, the creator economy, where there are people who are recognizing their own skills and their own strengths and what they're able to kind of put out there in the world, and they should find a way to be recognized for that. And it's great to be working with a tool like Disciple, where we can really highlight that and say to them, look, you don't have to be scrappy, or you don't have to, desperately try to get something over on another platform or something like that, out there. Like, we're actually giving you the tools to make this a real thing.
No, that's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Well, and speaking of unleashing people's creativity and the creative, culture, you guys are doing something with Thinkific, aren't you? The e-learning platform.
Yes, indeed we are. And I'm so excited. I can't wait for us to launch our own courses on it. But so, yeah, we've always kind of had like an open API. So our customers can use Thinkific integration. So they've had this sort of two sides of it. However, we are going to be working a little bit more closely with Thinkific, which is just, to make sure that our creators and our customers and everyone else can kind of have that two-in-one system. So obviously it's important to be able to, run your courses and to have that somewhere, but then you also don't want to lose the community aspect of it. And so what we often find when we speak to Thinkific customers, they're like, oh, I really want a community. And our customers are like, I really need something to run my course and to make the money, really. And so we're going to be working with Thinkific to kind of put a special package out there, so you can kind of get two-in-one for a delightful price and a delightful situation, so that you can really kind of have best of both worlds. So yeah, I'm this is the first time I've actually said it out loud. What have I done? But yeah, really excited to see what that looks like.
That is amazing. Now I've used Thinkific to build out courses before. It's a really nice, friendly platform, pretty easy to use. I'm not a partner. I don't get anything for saying that. It's just they're cool. I don't get anything for saying great things about you guys either. But it's just it's a cool, like, stuff that I like. That's cool. That's easy to use is great. And the fact that these two platforms are coming together in ways that that they're going to be a little tighter integration, a little better user experience. For me, that's like the Reese's peanut butter cup that I look for all the time. Like the two great things that look good together. So. Really awesome. I'm excited to hear that. So there's so much good going on with the platform now. Nicolette, are you? Has this been your first like community outing, like working with community or community platforms, or what has your journey been? How did you end up here? Because I always like to ask people about their origin journeys a little bit.
For sure, yeah. So I have a bit of a, I don't know, maybe non-traditional approach, I guess. Yeah. I don't think most people do in community anyway. But yeah, so years ago now, like 10 years ago, I think it was. Yeah, I sort of graduated from uni and I was on the looking out for jobs. And I had a recruiter reach out and they were like, hey, there's a community manager job at a co-working space that works with tech startups. And I was like, I don't know what any of those things mean. Like community, tech startups, co-working space. Like, okay, fine, I need a job. So I went for the job interview and I distinctly remember them asking me a question saying, have you ever worked with SaaS platforms and SaaS tools in the past? And I go, oh yeah, I built an infographic when I was in university. And they were just like, okay, bless her. She tried. She obviously has a good heart and yeah, we're going to give her the chance. And that was it. They gave me the job and that was my window into it. And it was like an immediate switch. Like I just completely fell in love. I loved working with tech startups. I loved building a sense of community. And from then I managed physical communities to virtual. I used to host more physical events, obviously before the pandemic. And yeah, that kind of led me to where I am now. So obviously working with Disciple, building our in-house community, but it's probably the first time that I'm helping others build their communities. I'm building a community of community builders. And that's been a whole new learning curve. Yeah. So I've loved sharing my knowledge and I've also just loved learning along the way. I speak to customers all the time that tell me things where I'm like, hey, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, why not? Kind of thing. And I think that's what community really is, isn't it? It's the exchange of ideas and thoughts and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's kind of where I am.
There's so much goodness in what you just said. So some of the things that stood out to me, you were talking about when they said, "Well, bless her, she's got a good heart." That is so at the center of community, like that sense of like somebody that just wants to give, they want to help. They're reasonably outgoing and interested in trying something different or trying something new. I mean, those are the qualities that I look for, in a strong community leader. Somebody that is, likes to connect people and likes to, find the connections between people and to enable those kinds of things. And I'll say, I mean, the collective is so fortunate to have somebody like you and like Valentina, to be working in the collective and enabling others, because you're you're leading by example. You're showing them ways to build a place that is vibrant, where people want to contribute, where they want to, be active, and that's hard to do. Like, not every community platform that has a community, like a support community for their community
Mm.
leaders, not every one of those is vibrant. Not every one of those
Yeah.
is a really interesting, active place to be. And you guys have done a really nice job over time of doing live events, ask me anythings, things like the harvest, to really kind of get people excited
Mm.
and going about the platform. So thank you for all you do. I think you
Oh.
guys are amazing. So
Thanks for saying that. I mean, I think I was talking to somebody about this today, and I was saying at the end of the day, it really is just about being authentic and listening. I think we wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't done both of those things. I look back at where the collective was when I first launched it by myself. When was it? March last year. My goodness, like, it has like traveled, light years. And it really is just down to, I mean, obviously Valentina and I work our little butts off, but we're listening to our members, and they have a need. We're like, how can we address this? What's kind of going on? How can we kind of appeal to that? And then just being real, like, I get into that community and I'm like, I know it's hard. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I don't, do this and think that, I sat back and it just happened for me. And it's just real nice when you could just be real with them, and they can be real kind of right back to you, and you can kind of build from that place. So yeah, it's all a journey, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work in it, and I'm fortunate that I was able to see your journey from March of last year, to the present, well, the year before last, I guess. Anyways, to see the time that's passed, and the hard work that goes into building those connections and building that sense of belonging, within the space. So looking back to the early days of the collective, or maybe even some of your early community building efforts, what would you have told the earlier version of yourself, that now that you didn't know then, to either encourage you to keep doing something more, or to maybe stop doing something that you realized now was maybe not the most conducive thing to move forward? Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, yes, you're talking like, okay, yes, interesting. Yeah, for sure. I think there are things that I picked up along the way that if someone had just told me then, like, you need to just, take this, then that could change things. So I think the first thing is resilience. I think it's a really big thing for me. And I think I struggled a lot when I first got into community. You deal with a lot of different personality types, and community spaces can often be quite demanding, especially for people who don't actually understand community all that well, who sort of maybe see it as a support forum, for example, or something like that. And so I think when I first started, I was like, oh my goodness, like, I can't deal with this. Like, you're the point person for everything. And I think, over time, I remember even, beginning days, standing outside my office on the phone, crying to my mom and being like, I just can't do it, Mom. It's just so hard. And being like, you got this, like, don't worry. And I feel like now, looking back, I'm like, I'm so glad that I stuck with it and was just like, you know what, keep pushing on, be stronger, be better, and, learning how to communicate effectively and all these sorts of things. And I think that's a skill that, any community manager, if you have that, I think it can take you very, very far. And I think, what else? I think not to hold back just because because you are an introvert. I am naturally introverted in my personal life. Like, I love being alone, actually. Like, I could be alone for months and, like, not be bothered. But that doesn't mean I can't be a good community manager. I can still show up and be my most authentic and best self. And in fact, I find a lot of good community managers are introverts because they're in a space that they can kind of control and own, and it allows them to be able to be their best selves and not have to worry about, like, oh no, what if I do this wrong or do that? You've created a space of people that you want to be a part of, and I think that's a really beautiful thing to have. And so just because you're not super bubbly and super extroverted doesn't mean that you are not able.
I love both of those things. So on the resilience front, I think about resilience. Like, sometimes people will equate resilience with maybe agility or adaptability, but those are very different qualities. I think that adaptability and agility, those are your ability to change and kind of roll with those things and make bob and weave as you need to make something work. But the resilience is incredibly important, and that ability to get back up when you've been knocked down. And I agree. I mean, I think that's something all of us need to work on. And it's sometimes something particularly hard to relate to your second point, which is if you are introverted, which I am as well. For me, the measurement of whether you're an extrovert or an introvert is whether you feed on and get energized by being, by pushing yourself out and being with other people, or if you can do it, but you end up, you needed to be by yourself to recharge the battery a little bit. And so that, like, for me, that's always been the thing. Like, it's great. I love meeting new people. I love interviewing people. I love having conversations and doing that. But at the end of the day, I need home time. I need alone time to kind of recharge and kind of figure out who I am and what's next and all that piece. I think community managers do really well in that, because those of us who are introverts tend to be deeply empathetic for others.
Yeah.
And I absolutely see that quality in you as well. But that ability to be resilient, I think for introverts in particular, is a matter of knowing that you need to take that time for yourself and step away and engage in that self-care, because that burnout is such a huge problem in this space.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. And I think, as you said, like earlier as well, is that I think when you are introverted and in this sort of space, it's a case that you feel rewarded as well when you get to give back. And I think that's what works really well in community, like not expecting to have something in return. And so I know, even just from my personal life to family and all the rest, it feels really good when you get something right for somebody. Like when you get someone a gift and they wanted it and they're like, yes, it feels so heartwarming. And I feel like that's what community is. Like, my members have kind of been asking for something. They're not too sure. We build something amazing, put it out there, and they're like, yes. And I'm like, oh, that's it, job done. I'm happy. And that is just so that's everything for me, But as you say, on the flip side of that is having that time to practice that self-care, to sort of sit down and say, you know what, it's okay for me not to be active in the community today. Like sometimes I just need a minute. And I think that your members 9 out of 10 times will be like, yeah, I see that too. Like even if you just say it to them, guys, I'm going to be a little bit quiet today. And like, I think they'll kind of pick it up, like they kind of say, no worries, we got you. And they get more active and it works.
I think that joy that you described, that moment of being able to help somebody, or making them feel a part of the space, making them feel the sense of belonging, that is so powerful. And and I think that it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day of community engagement and sort of like trying to build engagement, trying to make people feel that sense of belonging, and that moment of feeling good. It is worth emphasizing that we take that moment to celebrate when those things happen, because it is rare in this world of the internet that we live in, with social media and all the distrust and all of the negativity and the problems that occur. Excuse me. That what we're doing with these private community experiences and spaces, the things that Disciple's doing and others in the community building space are doing, is a really important corrective or counterbalance to all of those dark things that are happening, in the world right now. And so I celebrate what you're doing. I celebrate, what the coming together, that you guys are having with the Harvest event. I think that's incredibly powerful to do. So thank you.
Thank you.
So tell me again, when is the Harvest happening, and how does somebody get signed up to participate in the event?
Yeah, for sure. So the Harvest is next week, Tuesday, the 16th of November. So it's at 5 p.m. GMT, or I think it's 12 p.m. EST time. It should be for about an hour and 15 minutes. And then you can find the event if you just go to Disciples and like LinkedIn, for example, we have it there. If you're in the collective, we've got it there. And I'm pretty sure we've got it on every other kind of like event site. You just need to like register for your spot, and it's that simple. And yeah, as I said, we'll be sharing about our like latest product features and updates. We'll also be doing a panel discussion, which I'm like wildly excited about. We're welcoming Carrie Melissa Jones. Oh, Valentina, thank you. We're welcoming Carrie Melissa Jones and the head of education and community at Thinkific, Sumo Chatterjee, as well, where they'll be discussing how to gain buy-in from your people and activate your revenue streams. So if you are looking how to make the money, how to engage, how to do all those bits and pieces, you can jump along to that. And then, of course, we'll give some updates on the collective and a few other sneaky bits too.
Well, that's terrific. Carrie Melissa Jones, another Wisconsin person, by the way. Give a quick shout out to her. She is absolutely amazing,
Oh,
brilliant person in the community space,
mm.
tremendous resources, and a valued colleague. That's terrific. So another great reason to tune into the event. Um, Nicolette, any other observations about sort of what's going on in the online community space now? We got a couple of minutes left, and thought I always like to get sort of the macro view of sort of like what you see happening this year, or sort of maybe what's coming about, from where you sit in the online community world.
Yeah, for sure. So I think something that's really been interesting and exciting for us is the fact that obviously we're at a boom of the creator economy space. I think for a long time, well, for a while anyway, at Disciple, we felt like we sat quite nicely in the passion economy. And while we still believe that to be true, as we love the idea that life can be sparked by passion, we feel like the creator world has really kind of taken shape now and taken form. And as I said earlier, just that there is a space for these individuals that, I mean, and I love the idea of like stepping away from the patriarchy, dumping your day job, all that kind of nonsense, right? And realizing that you actually have something incredible to offer to this world. And so, yeah, I'm just loving what I'm seeing in that space at the moment. And actually, off the back of that, as a last little tidbit, if you do join the Harvest, we are giving away a free web community. So if you are a creator or a community builder, and you are interested in kind of getting into that space and kind of making maybe something a bit more formal to kind of what you're putting out there, it's a perfect time to kind of join in and pitch for a free community at our Pitch Palace, which will be happening inside our community, the collective, straight after the Harvest. So yeah, I think, yeah, jump in, join along, and be confident in what you're putting out there. I feel like that's really important.
So cool. So a free community giveaway.
Yes, we're doing it. We do it every Harvest because I just feel like, again, it's that feeling of giving it away, right? It feels so good. But yeah, every Harvest we do our Pitch Palace where customers, pet members, anybody really can pitch for their own community, and we'll give you a free community for an entire year, and we'll guide you through the setup and everything else, and give you free templates and resources to make sure that you are fully ready and able to smash it.
That is so cool. I love it. Is that an exclusive here, or no? I'm just kidding.
It's just you, Todd.
No, that is super cool, and just kind of goes along with the neat things that you guys are doing over at Disciple Media. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll come back to talk a little bit more about other cool stuff that's happening, with the world of Disciple. And please give my best to Benji and Owen and Nick and Valentina, about everything. Well, I know Valentina's in the stream here, but about everything that's going on. I will look forward to being there for the Harvest when that happens, and maybe be on some future streams with you guys too, and do some other kinds of events as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, we'd love to welcome you back into the collective. You posted a couple of events for us already. They always go down a treat. So we'll make sure that we can get you on the 2022 calendar.
Fantastic. Well, with that, thank you so much. And for those of you tuning in, thank you so much for joining this live stream. Or if you happen to catch this on the replay, please be sure to give us a shout out in the comments. I do read and reply and respond to every comment, like good community leaders should. And look for more announcements about upcoming streams. I don't have one scheduled again for this week, so probably something for next week. Usually I do these on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday at 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. And in the meantime, please tune into the Harvest. One more time, the date of the Harvest is
16th of November, next week, Tuesday.
Awesome. All right. So please check that out. The links are handily posted up there by Valentina. And we will see you again soon for the next Talk About Your Community. Nicolette, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Todd. It was a pleasure to be here and chat with you.
Likewise.